The sun blazed its farewell across the sky as the station wagon rolled down Birchwood Avenue, the newest addition to the suburban tapestry. Inside, the Daniels family, Mark, Lisa, and their daughter Sarah, were embarking on a fresh start in a quaint neighborhood nestled between towering oaks and neatly trimmed lawns. Excitement tinged with nervous anticipation bubbled within the family as they approached their new home, a charming two-story house with a welcoming porch and a neatly manicured garden. Yet, as their eyes wandered across the street, they couldn't help but notice the dark silhouette of the house next door, an imposing structure standing as a shadowy sentinel amidst the cheery homes. "Looks like we've got some interesting neighbors," Lisa remarked, her voice carrying a note of uncertainty. Mark nodded, a flicker of concern clouding his brow. "Hopefully they're friendly. It'll be good for Sarah to make some friends around here." Sarah, a shy 10-year-old with a penchant for adventure hidden behind her apprehensive smile, peered through the window at the foreboding house. It seemed to exude an air of mystery, its windows staring blankly back, and she couldn't shake the feeling that it held secrets waiting to be unraveled. The moving process was a symphony of activity. Boxes were heaved from the car, furniture shuffled into place, and the Daniels family began to make their new house a home. But no matter how they arranged the furniture or hung pictures on the walls, the ominous presence of the neighboring house loomed like a silent specter, casting a pall over their excitement. As twilight descended, Sarah's curiosity got the better of her. She slipped outside, the evening air cool against her skin, and hesitated at the edge of their yard, gazing across the street at the mysterious house. A figure stood on the porch of the neighboring house, barely visible in the fading light. Sarah squinted, her hazel eyes fixed on a boy about her age, his tousled hair casting shadows over piercing green eyes. He stood still, his gaze fixed on Sarah with an intensity that sent a shiver down her spine. "Hi!" Sarah called out tentatively. The boy remained motionless, an inscrutable expression on his face. A strange feeling of unease settled in Sarah's chest, but before she could retreat, the boy turned and vanished into the dimly lit interior of his house, leaving Sarah standing alone in the gathering darkness. Uneasy but intrigued, Sarah returned to her own house, her mind swirling with questions about the mysterious boy next door and the secrets that seemed to whisper from within the somber walls. Unbeknownst to her family, a spark of curiosity had been ignited within Sarah, a curiosity that would lead her down a path lined with enigmatic shadows and chilling revelations. The days in Birchwood Avenue passed in a whirlwind for the Daniels family, settling into their new routines, while the mystery of the neighboring house lingered like a haunting melody in the background. Despite her parents' warnings about the eerie house next door, Sarah found herself drawn to its enigmatic presence. One afternoon, as the autumn sun bathed the street in a golden glow, Sarah spotted movement in the yard of the neighboring house. Intrigued and somewhat nervous, she approached cautiously, her steps crunching on fallen leaves. There he was again, Owen, the boy next door, kneeling amidst a pile of scattered objects. Sarah couldn't help but notice the peculiar assortment: old books with faded spines, peculiar symbols scrawled on scraps of paper, and odd trinkets strewn around him. "Hey!" Sarah called out tentatively, taking a step closer. Owen glanced up, his gaze penetrating, yet strangely distant. He offered no response, merely observing Sarah with an intensity that made her uneasy. "I'm Sarah," she continued, trying to mask her unease. "We just moved in next door." Owen's lips parted slightly, but no words emerged. Instead, he turned his attention back to the scattered items, his fingers tracing the outlines of strange sigils etched onto an aged parchment. A chill danced down Sarah's spine. There was something unnervingly cryptic about Owen's demeanor, something that made her pulse quicken with an inexplicable mix of fear and fascination. Unwilling to linger in the uncomfortable silence, Sarah retreated to her own yard, but she couldn't shake the feeling of being watched, of unseen eyes following her every move. That evening, as Sarah recounted her encounter to her parents, a shadow of concern crossed their faces. "Sarah, I think it's best if you stay away from that boy," Mark cautioned, his voice laced with unease. Lisa nodded in agreement. "He seems different, sweetheart. It's important to listen to our instincts." But Sarah's curiosity had been piqued, and despite their warnings, she found herself stealing glances at the neighboring house, wondering about the mysteries that seemed to cling to Owen and the strange artifacts he surrounded himself with. As the night settled over Birchwood Avenue, Sarah couldn't shake the feeling that her encounter with Owen was only the beginning, that there was more to the boy next door than met the eye, a feeling that both intrigued and unnerved her in equal measure. Sarah couldn't shake off the unnerving encounter with Owen. His mysterious aura lingered in her thoughts, a puzzle she couldn't resist trying to solve. Determined to uncover more, she decided to dig deeper into the enigmatic boy next door. Days turned into weeks, and Sarah's curiosity grew insatiable. She observed Owen from a distance, noticing his solitary nature and the peculiar objects he carried into the house: strange stones, weathered tomes, and an old ornate box that seemed to hold a secret of its own. One afternoon, driven by a mixture of trepidation and curiosity, Sarah mustered the courage to approach the neighboring house once more. She found Owen in the yard, engrossed in a peculiar ritual, a small flame flickering amidst a circle drawn in the dirt. "Owen?" she called tentatively, hoping for a response this time. Owen's head snapped up, his eyes locking onto Sarah's with an intensity that sent a shiver down her spine. "You shouldn't be here," he uttered, his voice a hushed warning. Sarah hesitated but pressed on, driven by an inexplicable need to unravel the mysteries that shrouded Owen. "I just want to know about you, about this place. There's something strange happening, and I want to understand." A shadow of conflict crossed Owen's face, his demeanor torn between caution and an underlying desire to share his burdensome secrets. "You wouldn't understand, it's dangerous." But Sarah's curiosity outweighed her fear. "Try me," she urged, stepping closer despite Owen's warning. Reluctantly, Owen relented, revealing fragments of a chilling tale, a legacy of a cursed family, ancient rituals, and a darkness lurking within the walls of his house. He spoke of strange occurrences, unexplained phenomena that plagued his family for generations, and the weight of an ominous force that seemed to cling to him. As Owen spoke, Sarah felt a chill in the air, a sense of foreboding that echoed the gravity of his words. She realized that the mysteries surrounding Owen were far more profound and sinister than she had ever imagined. Before Sarah could delve deeper, a sudden noise from within the house startled Owen, and he swiftly gathered his belongings, his eyes pleading with Sarah to leave. "You have to go now." With a heart pounding in her chest, Sarah retreated, her mind reeling with the revelations. The pieces of the puzzle were falling into place, but they formed a picture darker and more ominous than she could have ever fathomed. As Sarah returned home, a sense of unease settled within her, knowing that the secrets Owen had unveiled were just the tip of the iceberg, a glimpse into a world of shadows and malevolent forces that lurked frighteningly close to her own doorstep. Sarah's mind buzzed with the unsettling revelations from her encounter with Owen. Nightfall painted the neighborhood in a cloak of darkness, and Birchwood Avenue seemed to hold its breath as if waiting for the inevitable. A peculiar restlessness consumed Sarah, fueling a desire to untangle the enigmatic threads surrounding Owen and the eerie occurrences in the neighborhood. As the moon cast an eerie glow upon the streets, Sarah found herself drawn once more to the house next door. She approached cautiously, the air thick with an unsettling stillness. The lights in Owen's house flickered ominously, casting eerie shadows that danced on the walls. Hesitating at the threshold, Sarah's breath hitched as she noticed a faint glow emanating from within, accompanied by strange, guttural whispers that sent shivers down her spine. Determined to confront the mysteries head-on, Sarah stepped into the yard, her heart pounding in her chest. She found Owen in the dimly lit backyard, his eyes wide with a mixture of fear and and resignation. "There's something here, isn't there?" Sarah whispered, her voice barely audible over the eerie whispers that seemed to echo from within the house. Owen nodded, his voice barely above a whisper. "It's been growing. Stronger." As if on cue, a sudden gust of wind swept through the yard, the air thick with an otherworldly chill. Shadows coalesced, contorting into grotesque shapes that slithered across the ground. The very fabric of reality seemed to warp, as if giving way to an unseen malevolence. Sarah's heart raced with terror as she realized the gravity of the situation. Whatever darkness loomed within Owen's house was now unleashed, a force that defied comprehension and threatened to engulf them both. In a desperate bid to shield themselves, Owen and Sarah sought refuge behind a feeble barrier of flickering light. The whispers grew louder, their intensity a cacophony of ancient murmurs that seemed to tear at the fabric of their sanity. With every passing moment, the darkness encroached further, its malevolent tendrils reaching out hungrily. Owen's panicked gaze met Sarah's, both realizing they were in a battle against a force beyond their understanding. As Sarah fought to maintain her composure, a surge of determination washed over her. Clutching Owen's hand, she focused on a single thought: the need to protect, the need to survive. With a flicker of determination, Sarah called out into the abyss, her voice infused with a raw resolve. "You will not claim us!" In a burst of blinding light, a surge of energy emanated from Sarah, forcing back the encroaching darkness. The malevolent whispers faded, replaced by an eerie silence that settled like a blanket over the yard. Breathless and shaken, Sarah and Owen emerged from the harrowing encounter, their bond forged by the shared confrontation with the unfathomable. As dawn broke over Birchwood Avenue, Sarah realized that the mysteries were far from solved, but she had glimpsed a power within herself, a power that stood as a beacon against the encroaching darkness that lingered within the shadows of their quiet neighborhood. The morning sun peeked over the horizon, casting tentative rays of light across Birchwood Avenue, illuminating a neighborhood cloaked in an eerie calm. The events of the previous night lingered in Sarah's mind, the unsettling encounter with the malevolent forces lurking within Owen's house etched vividly in her memory. Determined to uncover the truth and put an end to the ominous presence looming over their neighborhood, Sarah sought answers. She embarked on a quest, consulting dusty tomes, scouring old archives, and seeking out whispers of ancient lore that might shed light on the dark forces that plagued them. Armed with newfound knowledge and an unyielding resolve, Sarah confronted Owen's family, their home once again a battleground between light and shadow. The air crackled with tension as Sarah stood before Owen's parents, her voice unwavering despite the gravity of the situation. "There's something in your house," Sarah began, her words carrying a weight of urgency and determination. "Something ancient, something malevolent. It's been lurking, feeding on darkness and growing stronger." Owen's parents exchanged uneasy glances, acknowledging the truth veiled behind Sarah's words. "We tried to contain it, to shield Owen from its grasp," Owen's mother admitted, her voice tinged with a mixture of remorse and fear. "But it's been growing restless," Owen's father added, his gaze haunted. "We fear we've lost control." A sense of impending doom loomed, the weight of the situation settling heavily upon them. The darkness within Owen's house, an ancient entity craving power and consuming all in its path, threatened to spill beyond the confines of their home. Sarah's determination burned brighter than ever. "We have to stop it," she declared, her voice a beacon of hope amidst the encroaching despair. United by a common cause, Sarah, Owen, and his parents forged a plan, a daring ritual to contain the malevolent force, to quell its insatiable hunger for darkness. As twilight descended upon Birchwood Avenue once more, the group gathered, each one channeling their strength and resolve. An array of protective symbols adorned the walls, and incantations whispered with solemn conviction filled the air. The house trembled, a primal howl echoing from within as the ancient entity fought against its bindings. Shadows writhed, a malevolent force clawing at the edges of reality, but the unity and determination of those standing against it stood firm. With a final surge of combined willpower, the ritual reached its climax. A burst of blinding light engulfed the house, piercing through the darkness and sealing the malevolent entity within its confines once more. Silence settled over Birchwood Avenue, broken only by the soft rustle of leaves in the night breeze. The danger had passed, the threat contained for now, and a fragile peace descended upon the neighborhood. As Sarah looked at Owen and his family, she knew that the shadows had been pushed back, that they had emerged victorious against the ancient darkness. Yet, she also understood that some secrets were best left buried, a testament to the fragile balance between light and darkness that lingered in their quiet suburban enclave. In the aftermath of the confrontation, Birchwood Avenue carried the weight of the recent events like a hushed secret. The air seemed lighter, yet an unspoken unease lingered, a silent acknowledgement of the fragile peace they now treaded upon. Sarah, now a sentinel of the unknown, found herself haunted by the echoes of their battle against the malevolent force. She wandered the neighborhood streets, her steps hesitant yet purposeful, searching for signs of any lingering darkness. The neighborhood gradually resumed its facade of normalcy, the faint echoes of their ordeal fading into whispers of memory. Owen and his family, bearing the weight of a burden lifted but not forgotten, sought solace in the quiet routines of everyday life. But for Sarah, the harrowing experience had left an indelible mark. In quiet moments, she found herself drawn to the house next door, gazing at the quiet facade that masked the haunting secrets within. The scars of the battle lingered, reminders of a confrontation that had unveiled a world beyond the veil of the ordinary. As weeks turned into months, life settled into a delicate balance. The neighborhood bloomed anew with the arrival of spring, yet a watchful vigilance lingered, a testament to the shadows that once lurked in their midst. Sarah's courage had awakened something within her, a curiosity tempered by caution, a resilience born of adversity. She had glimpsed a world teetering on the brink between light and darkness, and though the threat had been contained, she remained vigilant, knowing that the boundary between the ordinary and the extraordinary was often thinner than it seemed. Owen, too, bore the weight of the ordeal, his once haunted gaze now touched with a glimmer of hope. He and Sarah shared a quiet understanding, a connection forged by their shared experience, a silent acknowledgement of the secrets they safeguarded together. The neighborhood whispered tales of the inexplicable events that had transpired, stories that blurred the line between reality and myth. Yet, buried beneath those murmurs was a deeper truth, a tale of resilience, of courage in the face of the unknown, and of the bonds that forged in the crucible of adversity. As Sarah gazed at the sun setting over Birchwood Avenue, she knew that the darkness they had faced had not vanished entirely, but for now, it remained contained, a fragile peace guarded by the unspoken heroes who had confronted the shadows and emerged stronger, forever changed by the haunting secrets of their suburban haven. In the winter of 2017, Tom Kendrick, a mild-mannered accountant, embarked on a work trip that would turn into a nightmarish descent into the unknown. His destination was a remote town, nestled in the shadow of ancient mountains, where the chill of the winter air seemed to penetrate the very soul. Little did Tom know that the quaint charm of the town masked a history steeped in the supernatural. As he checked into the solitary inn that would be his temporary residence, the locals regarded him with an unsettling mix of curiosity and foreboding. The inn, an ancient structure with creaking floorboards and dimly lit corridors, exuded an aura of quiet malevolence. Ignoring the ominous atmosphere, Tom set about his work, poring over financial documents late into the night. On the third night of his stay, the the town was blanketed in an otherworldly silence. Tom, feeling the weight of exhaustion, retired to his room. But as the clock struck midnight, the walls seemed to pulse with an unnatural energy. Shadows danced on the periphery of his vision, taking on shapes that defied reason. The air turned icy, and Tom's breath hung in the stillness. The room became a canvas for unexplainable events. Objects levitated, and the temperature fluctuated between extremes. Unseen footsteps echoed in the hallway outside his door, each step resonating with a spectral eeriness. Disturbed but determined to rationalize the inexplicable, Tom delved into the history of the town. He discovered tales of a long-forgotten tragedy, an event so traumatic that the very fabric of the town seemed to bear its scars. Locals spoke in hushed whispers of apparitions seen wandering the streets at night, and of an ancient curse that befell those who dared to delve too deeply into the town's secrets. One evening, as Tom explored the town's archives, he stumbled upon an old journal. Its pages were filled with the desperate scribblings of a resident who had experienced similar paranormal phenomena. The entries grew increasingly frantic, detailing a malevolent force that consumed the town's inhabitants. Determined to unravel the mystery, Tom set out to find the source of the paranormal activity. His journey led him to an abandoned mansion at the town's edge, hidden among gnarled trees and overgrown vegetation. The mansion, a relic of a bygone era, seemed to resonate with an energy that sent shivers down Tom's spine. As he ventured deeper into the mansion, the air thickened with an oppressive presence. Tom felt an unseen gaze upon him, and the temperature dropped precipitously. Murmurs of forgotten voices echoed through the grand halls, recounting tales of despair and tragedy. In the mansion's dimly lit basement, Tom discovered a hidden chamber filled with ancient relics and symbols etched into the walls. The symbols seemed to come alive with an ethereal glow as he approached. Unbeknownst to Tom, he had stumbled upon the epicenter of the town's paranormal unrest, a place where the veil between the living and the supernatural had worn thin. As Tom attempted to decipher the symbols, a sudden gust of frigid wind extinguished his flashlight. In the suffocating darkness, a haunting voice whispered warnings that sent shivers down his spine. Panicking, Tom fumbled to find his way back, but the mansion seemed to shift and morph, confounding his sense of direction. Days turned into nights, and the town realized that Tom was missing. The innkeepers, with faces etched with worry, reported his disappearance to the authorities. The search for Tom Kendrick yielded no results. It was as if he had vanished into the very shadows that plagued the town. The mansion, now a looming specter against the winter sky, bore silent witness to Tom's inexplicable fate. Locals, haunted by the events that transpired, avoided the once charming town center. Whispers of Tom's disappearance lingered, whispered in hushed tones among the few brave souls who dared to tread the haunted streets. To this day, the mystery of Tom Kendrick remains unsolved, a chilling tale woven into the fabric of the town's history. The mansion, forever entwined with the supernatural, stands as a testament to the enigma that unfolded within its walls. As winter descends each year, the town, burdened by the weight of its haunted past, becomes a place where the living tread cautiously, wary of the unseen forces that linger in the shadows.